Hey everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Justin, and today we're going over my top 3 biggest concerns for next year's Toronto Maple Leaf team as we stand today. Now, it's only the middle of September, so lots can change before the start of the season, but here are the biggest 3 concerns of mine as we stand. Before I go any further, of course, I have to say it. If you do like this content, please consider clicking like and subscribing. I really do appreciate it. It provides really good feedback for me on my channel. Item number 1, that's the goaltending. Now, this is probably on most Leafs fans' areas of concern for next season, but I'm actually much more bullish on the Leafs goaltending duo for next year than I think most people are right now. In my opinion, the Leafs are no worse off with Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov than they were last year with Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek. And that might be hard to believe for a lot of people, but last year, the Leafs goaltending numbers were really not good, aside from maybe 1 or 2 months of the season. So we can't get much worse than last year. And in that regard, it's not that big of a concern. What is a concern is the uncertainty. We've got Ilya Samsonov, who's a young goaltender that showed a lot of potential, but did have a negative season last year and doesn't have a track record of being a predominant first starting goalie for a team. And likewise for Matt Murray, he started off really hot in his career, a great prospect, winning back-to-back Stanley Cups as a rookie, but ever since then has not played very well. Of course, on a poor performing Ottawa Senators team, but never helped them out, had negative numbers, had a bad contract to boot that we were taking on here, and has had some injury problems in the past. So when you look at the two of them, who's going to take over the starting job? We don't know. As of right now, it probably looks like Matt Murray's the starter, but at the end of the day, Ilya Samsonov might be the starter at the end of the year. How are injuries going to look? Who's going to step up? Who's going to be the starter in the playoffs? We just don't know at this point. There's a lot of uncertainty, like I said. I am hopeful and optimistic that one of these, or if not both of them, are going to outperform expectations for this year and provide solid goaltending, even better goaltending than we had last year throughout this year and in the postseason. But that's yet to be seen, and we'll have to find out once we start. Item 2, that's the salary cap. Now, this is the area that's probably most subject to change, obviously, because we are not starting the season yet, and the Leafs are in a very tight salary cap crunch, and that's before even having a contract signed for Rasmus Sandin. Now, they might go the route of trading him. Who knows what's going to happen? But as we stand today, the salary cap is not in the Leafs' favor, as it isn't for a lot of teams in the NHL. But that is a big area of concern. The Leafs last year had to resort oftentimes to a reduced roster, leveraging LTIR, leveraging call-ups from the Marlies, and that's just not the way you want to operate, but it is the way that it looks like it's going to be yet again for next season. The Leafs are right up against the cap, and so they do need to make some moves, and maybe those will come before the season starts, but we'll have to shed some cap. We'll have to do a lot of maneuvering. Thank goodness we still have Brandon Pridham. He is involved in the Leafs front office as an assistant general manager, and he is a mastermind when it comes to the salary cap. So he'll work his magic again this year. I have no doubt that we'll be able to obviously succeed with the roster we've got and whatever changes they plan to make to it. But it does also affect what can the Leafs do at the trade deadline. Well, last year they were quite restricted and still went out and got a great piece in Mark Giordano, as well as getting Colin Blackwell there. But that's the kind of move that the Leafs are probably looking at. It's depth pieces. It's pieces that are on very fair deals, probably expiring deals. And that's likely who the Leafs will be targeting once again at this trade deadline. They're not able to go out and get the big piece that might be able to push them over the hump at the deadline like a lot of competitor teams do, just because of their salary cap situation. So again, subject to change. We'll see what happens. I think there is a major move still yet to come with the Leafs roster before the start of the season, but as we stand today, it's a major area of concern. And lastly, item number 3, it's the strength of the Atlantic Division. Now, the Leafs, ever since they came to a competitor playoff team in 2016, there was a shift in the NHL. Usually before that was the West was really good and the East was a weaker side, a weaker conference. And now it's flipped. and the East is just so competitive. And to make it even tougher, the Atlantic is definitely the best division in hockey. It's the hardest division. It's the most competitive division. It's got the most teams that have a great chance at the playoffs and having postseason success. So it will make the Leafs have a very difficult time throughout the regular season, even getting a playoff spot. And then when they do make the playoffs, they're likely going to be playing a very, very, very good team in the first round, just as they did last year, getting home ice advantage and having to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So this year, you've still got Tampa, you've still got Florida. Boston's taken maybe a step back, but they're still Boston. And then you've got the rise of the Ottawa Senators. You've got the, I think, underrated rise of the Detroit Red Wings. And then Buffalo's getting better. It's a very, very, very strong division. And it's going to definitely test the Toronto Maple Leafs at the very least. Now, it could work out positively where the Leafs, they have a track record of success against good teams and a bad track record of failure against bad teams. So maybe in some weird way, the Leafs will actually perform better in the regular season because they're playing better teams on a more frequent basis. But we'll see, and it's still a major barrier and obstacle for this year. So there it is. There are my 3 biggest areas of concern for next year's Toronto Maple Leafs team. What do you think about the ones that I provided, and what are your biggest areas of concern? I'd love to hear it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.